welcome to this week's episode of Concentrated, the show about all of the things that we find cool and interesting as nerds of color. I am your host, Maria, and I am joined, as always, by the lovely Manira
Hi.
and Eric.
Good day.
Yeah,
Biting his nails, Eric.
right.
Don't bite my nails.
I was like, do I want to go there? Man, I don't know. All right,
Don't
guys.
judge me.
So we decided we had a lot of new movies come out this past week, and we decided that we're going to give you a twofer on the movie reviews. So today we're going to be reviewing the new Coming to America on Amazon Prime, as well as Raya and the Last Dragon on Disney Plus. But before we get into those reviews, it is time for Eric to do the news. Oh, that's funky. I like
I
that
know.
one.
I don't know where that tasty groove came from. I don't have many stories today. I got a couple of mostly production updates, things like that. I do have a big one for nerds. First up, San Diego Comic-Con, due to the pandemic, is officially going to be online again like it was last year.
Yay.
Yay and kind of blah, because last year's was not very exciting.
No,
Well,
fuck
maybe-
that. Yay. Because if I can't be there, I don't want none of
Yeah.
y'all to be there. We can all be online together.
Well,
I
they've
mean,
also limited it to 3 days, where it's normally like a 5-day thing. So,
Why did they limit it to 3?
apparently because it's expensive, and like a lot of like nobody has to pay the normal things they pay. Like you know, normally
You're
have
not
to
making
pay
any money
for-
off it.
Yeah, you're not
Right.
really making much money. Like
Yeah.
so. Plus, a lot of that they do like a preview night where you can go in. Like if you pay extra or you're able to get the 5-day pass, you can go in the night before so you can see all with limited audience, and then the next day you get the first early day, and it goes legit Wednesday to like Sunday.
That's how I feel.
Exactly. I mean, like I said, I wish I could feel some kind of way and be like, oh, this is so sad. No, fuck that. All right. Because it's hard to get tickets to Comic-Con. We have been trying for years to get tickets to Comic-Con to no avail. And then people go like, oh, Comic-Con's so great. And since I got my tickets last year, I get it for next year now too. Man, fuck y'all.
Right. It's the double dipping for me.
Yeah.
Yep, you guys get to be plebeians like the rest of us. Yay!
We find out together. Yay.
Yeah, that's always my thing. The double like, oh, I went last year, so I can buy tickets for next year. Like, no, free of those
Right.
goddamn tickets for people who really want to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed. It's like the new old boys club.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And of course, you know, if you're part of a studio or something, you get all these comp tickets and things like that. And anyway, so we can be butthurt about that, but we'll be watching it from home like last year. Although vaccines are going out more, and maybe 2022 we'll be back to normal.
Normal.
Yeah, normal-ish.
Whatever that is.
Anyway, let's take a stop over in our favorite place, Scumbag Corner.
Scumbag corner. Scumbag corner.
You get caught up in the scumbag.
Scumbag corner.
Somebody got fired. Disney Marvel has removed T.I. from Ant-Man 3. Apparently, him and his wife are facing multiple sexual allegations, sexual assault, sexual abuse allegations against him and his wife by multiple women.
You ratcheted it up. It was like, no.
I wanted to make sure, like, it's like you got to be, you got to have the right terminology. Like, it's not rape; it's sexual abuse.
No. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't dig too deep into like what exactly they did, but apparently they're into some couples things, and apparently all of their participants were not totally with it,
consenting.
Yeah, so
yeah,
it's multiple women. So Disney has removed him from the film, and he will not appear in Ant-Man and the Wasp 3. I believe, what was it, Quantum Mania or something like that was the official title they gave it.
Just fucked himself out that Disney coin.
did.
But you know what? I like this. And let me tell you why I like this. Not that I like anybody being sexually abused. And quite honestly, the fact that you were sexually abusing grown-ass women means that you were doing some real freak shit. And that's not okay. But I like the fact that Disney is saying, hey, conservatives, you think it's just y'all that we'll get rid of when you
It's
do
not.
something fucked up? Nah, we'll get rid of this black dude too. Like,
Mhm.
we're equal opportunity firers over here at Disney. I like it. I'm here
Yeah,
for
I
it.
was concerned because I've heard nothing but for the last 2 weeks about how Gina Carano shouldn't have been fired, and it's a travesty, and they wouldn't have done this if it was a liberal person saying these things, and it's like, well,
And look at that.
anyway, shut up. She's fired. He's fired. Don't touch people. Don't say dumb shit.
More
Mm-mm.
people hanging out down in Scumbag
Yep.
Corner, I
Act
swear.
like
Can we leave there? I don't
act
want
like
to
you
be
got some
here.
fucking sense. We
I
do
don't
have
like
to
it
make a
here.
minor stop. It's not.
Uh-oh.
See, thankfully, this is to take us away from Scumbag Corner. We did get the news that we're
Okay.
getting a Silent Night, Deadly Night remake. If you don't know Silent Night, Deadly Night, it is an '80s horror movie about a killer Santa who's. There's a lot of weird abuse stuff with nuns and an orphanage. It came to fame basically because it was one of the first films to get boycotted by like parent groups because of the violent imagery and the poster of the Santa with an axe coming down the chimney.
Because Santa was fucking
Yeah,
people
it's not a
up.
great movie.
It's not. It's
It is
terrible.
getting remade by the creative team behind Jeepers Creepers Reborn. The stop in Scumbag Corner is because I don't know if you know about Jeepers Creepers. The horror movie, the
Mm-mm.
original one started Justin Long. They are directed by Victor Salva, the first three movies. Victor Salva is also a convicted pedophile. He also directed Powder.
Why does he have a
He
job?
directed three, including Jeepers Creepers 3, which just came out 2 years or so ago. But
All right, we're
but
gone.
no,
We're
no,
leaving
no.
this
The
corner.
creative team behind Jeepers Creepers Reborn basically said that they made the new Jeepers Creepers with no involvement from Salva. They want nothing to do with him. The studio wanted nothing to do with him, and that's just the connection between Jeepers Creepers and Silent Night, Deadly Night. But we are getting a Silent Night, Deadly Night reboot, and from what I've heard, the Jeepers Creepers Reborn is not bad. It comes out soon.
All right.
Yeah,
Anything
and
else?
keeping it on horror, uh,
Are we out of are
we're
we
out
out
of
of
Scumbag
Scumbag
Corner.
Corner?
And this
Oh, thank
gentleman, to
goodness.
my knowledge,
Okay.
has never been convicted of anything. And from what I've heard, is just a genuinely decent dude. Bruce Campbell confirmed that Resident Evil, not Resident Evil, Evil Dead Rise, will begin filming later on this year in New Zealand. And it's supposed to be taking
Oh,
Okay.
place in
nice.
modern times. I don't know if it's going to be connected to the
Okay.
2013 version, which was not a reboot, technically a reimagining or something that existed within the same universe. And he made the
Mhm.
point to mention that in this universe, the Necronomicon exists and it comes into contact with a lot of people. So he will be in the movie, but he says that the new star is a female lead. And I don't know where that's going to take it, especially with the ending of Ash versus the Evil Dead, which is the show based on Evil Dead. There's a lot going on,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to it because Evil Dead movies are great, even at their worst, they're great.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
And
All
then
right.
yeah,
Anything
just the
else?
last little bit. I guess this news is basically directed for one person, and he is a listener and friend of the show, Corey. Um, we got the news today that his favorite show, The Equalizer, with Queen
Mhm.
Latifah, has been renewed for a second season. He is
I knew when you said that.
he's a
That's what
big
I was going.
Equalizer fan.
We okay. So
Why, Corey? Why? We
I
love
I
you,
haven't watched
dog.
it yet.
He
I've
needs an
heard
intervention.
varying things.
I have a question, Corey. And this is the only time that you can like write in to talk about this. I watched the Meghan and Harry uh interview with Oprah, and it was on CBS, the
Mhm.
same station that houses The Equalizer. I was watching the trailer, and before I could say it out of my mouth, my little sister said, I wonder how fast she actually is like doing these stunts.
Y'all ain't shit.
And I
Y'all
like,
are
no,
so
no,
fucked
no,
up.
no, because the way that they shot it, and if you know anything about CBS and the way that they shoot things, all of the action is very slow.
Is it just like speed
So,
ramping so it makes it look faster, like what Steven Seagal does?
yes. So I want to know if that
Oh
is
no.
what's happening there as
Oh.
Well,
well.
I mean, it doesn't matter because people love it. Apparently, in its debut post Super Bowl, It debuted with 20 million viewers, so it is the largest thing for any program since February of 2020.
Because Queen Latifah is white people's favorite new sassy black woman.
It's not just Queen Latifah. It's not just white people. Like, I know that my
But you
great
get what
aunt
I'm
and my
saying?
uncle, yes, and my cousin are watching it. I
Like
know that.
like I feel like black folks are gonna watch it for the culture because it's Queen Latifah and you want to support.
Corey.
But white people love Queen Latifah, and I'm like, y'all clearly don't know anything about her music from the early '90s, right? No,
You mean they're not down
Oh,
with
okay.
UNITY? Gotta let them
I
know.
don't. I don't think so.
Who you
But
calling a
she
bitch?
is.
Bitch,
You know
right?
what it is? I feel like her and Octavia Spencer are switching spots for right now. So Queen Latifah has to do something ridiculous, or Octavia Spencer has to do something that's just absolutely phenomenal, and then they'll tag team, like they'll tag each other in and out.
I heard
Because
that Octavia Spencer's not ABC, her Apple movie series was really good. That To Lie or something like that with Jesse
listen,
Pinkman. I know that
I
is not his
don't
name.
doubt it. She's a great actress,
Aaron
but I'm
Paul
just
is the
saying that
gentleman
for
you're thinking of.
whatever reason, after she did The Help, all of a sudden she was
Yeah.
white people's favorite sassy black
Well,
woman.
we also did
so
get the trailer this week
we'll
of her
see.
movie Thunder Force with Melissa McCarthy, where they both get superpowers. It looks kind of dumb hilarious. Like, I'm definitely gonna watch it.
Okay. All right. Didn't know anything about that,
Yeah,
but I might be down for
I
that.
watched it and
Didn't
I
know
was like,
anything
wait a
about
minute, is
that.
this two full-figured women in superhero costumes beating up Jason Bateman with
Very
lobster
much so,
claws?
yes.
I'm with it.
I would like to be, well, I am full figured. I don't like to be a full figured woman, but I am. But I would like to be one with superpowers.
Yeah.
And I would also be okay beating up Jason Bateman with lobsters. So yeah,
I was
I think I might
amazed
check
because
that
people
out
had
too.
thrown Melissa McCarthy's name in the ring for the comic Faith, which is it's about a heavier white woman who is a superhero, and I figured it was just like people were like, oh well, let's get a fat white woman. It's like you guys are being a little, you know, yeah.
You know.
So this is a good departure from
we
that.
leave
It
it at
still
that.
seems fun and cheeky, and Octavia Spencer and Melissa McCarthy seem to be having a really good time. So I'm with it.
And they both look really
Yeah.
good.
I mean, listen, after her performance in Ma, fuck what you heard. I'll take Octavia Spencer.
Yeah, the
doing
movie
anything.
was terrible. Her performance is amazing. Her performance saves
was
the
great.
terrible
Yeah.
movie.
Yep. All right. So anything else, E, or is that it for
That's
you
it.
today?
I got no deaths, so apparently
All
people are
right,
getting
let's keep that
vaccinated.
energy.
So those folks ain't dying like they used to.
We don't
All
say
right.
that here.
We don't.
could use
So
it,
so let's jump right
Just
in.
a skimming.
We can use a slogan.
Yeah, just a skim off the top. 10% of people gone.
All right.
We're good.
So what ends up happening is that we are all trapped at home, which means that we are all craving anything that we can get. And this past week, we got two jewels for two very different reasons. We got one that we very much felt was for the culture. And then we got another one that also was for the culture, specifically the Southeast Asian culture. So I think that we'll start with the one that had all of the big names in it first, which was Eddie Murphy's direct to Amazon Prime release of Coming to America, i.e.,
You see
the
what they
Coming
did
to
there? The
America
2
sequel.
is the number 2.
Ba-dum.
Yeah. Oh my god.
So clever.
Fucking Mensa guys up here with these.
And so I feel like we should just jump right in for our viewers and listeners who have either already seen it and probably have an opinion or have been seeing the reviews online. They have not been super kind, but also there is a clear divide in how people are viewing this movie. So with that, I want to start by asking, did either one of you come into this with any expectations?
Unfortunately, like I had seen some of the
God.
negative press before I watched it. Like I didn't. Like, it came out on Friday. I didn't get a chance to watch it until Sunday evening. And I'd seen the negative press, and I was like, that can't be true. Oh, there's so many funny people in this. And to my experience, while some of them were just being overly harsh for the sake of being overly harsh, not all of them were completely wrong.
Yeah, it was like you said, it was a split decision, and a a lot of them were very angry, or a lot of them were like, no, 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 it was the funniest thing. It wasn't.
I think it comes from which age group you talk to as well. Like the people who nostalgia is a ration, and you shouldn't and I
Mhm.
say this as the person who's literally surrounded by nostalgia 24/7. um like you got to know when to cut it off, and things like this where they bring back, and especially it doesn't work in comedies. I've seen sequels to movies,
Mm.
20, 30 years later. Blade Runner 2049 is a perfect example of a movie that came out 30 years later and is as good if not better than the original. With comedies, unfortunately, you run the gamut where like you need to make sure these certain jokes hit, you need to make sure these references hit.
Mhm.
It doesn't always work. Like we've seen it with like Dumb and Dumber 2, which was just god awful. um yeah, a lot of these movies where they take, if it's more than 10 years, just cut it off, just
Yeah.
cut your losses, let people have their happy memories. Like, can you imagine if they made Trading
Well, that
Places 2 now?
no,
Don't.
don't do
You don't
that.
want to see Dan
No,
Aykroyd
I
in
think
fucking blackface?
that maybe Eddie Murphy was not the one to write the script, because he doesn't maybe his comedy hasn't translated over into being a big boy, or not a big boy, but being grown up, if that makes
Well, I
sense.
know a lot of the writing wasn't done directly by him. You have people like Kenya Barris of Blackish to blame for this. You have
Oh, and I
a
blame
shocking
him.
amount of white writers on a movie featuring a 99% white black cast. Also directed by a white man, the same guy who Craig Brewer, who directed Hustle and Flow.
Not
Come
surprising at
on,
Come
man.
all.
on, man. He also directed
Listen,
Black Snake Moan.
I love Hustle and Flow, so don't do that.
uh,
Yeah,
I
there were
remember
some beats
leaving
that
the.
I didn't like.
So I think that so coming into it, I like you too, like I'd seen already online that people were either tearing it to shreds or vehemently defending it. And for me, I know enough to know that comedy sequels are rarely ever as good as the first, or even funny in general,
Yeah, it's
because you
definitely a
always
tough act
have
to follow.
recycled jokes. Yeah, you
Mhm.
always have recycled jokes and things of the like in the sequel.
Mhm.
So I definitely came in with incredibly low expectations. Um, I just figured, well, if they recycle certain jokes, I'm probably gonna laugh,
Mhm.
and then we'll just kind of see where this story goes. And
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
the young
I
man,
definitely expected them to recycle. Like, of course, you have to hit those references. I expected that, but
Mhm.
like
yeah,
to the extent that they did it in this, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
yeah, I've like for me, the only thing I was really hoping was that the young man who played Lavelle, Jermaine Fowler, I
Mhm.
was hoping that he had a good showing simply because he's a local kid. He's from like literally his high school is like 10 minutes from my house.
He
So
did a good
Yeah,
job.
like
he
he
I
did
actually
right.
enjoyed.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, that's kind of what I'm going into it with, and
Mhm.
also preparing myself for my husband to break furniture because Coming to America is literally his favorite all-time movie, and it came out when he was like 4, and he can recite it backwards and forwards in his sleep, and it's just literally his favorite. So I was like, we're gonna sit here and watch it. He's gonna hate it. He's gonna break furniture. So that was kind of what my expectation was, and I was just kind of happy that he didn't actually end up breaking furniture when it
Did
was
he leave
done.
halfway through the
So
movie? Because I would have.
he didn't. No, no, no. He sat and he watched the whole thing, which then leads to my next question to you guys. Now that we kind of talked about expectations, really quickly, what are your overall thoughts on the movie?
Did we have to have a date rape?
Glad you brought it up because I was going to bring it up later. But yeah, all you, Manera.
I I just think that, like, I mean, like we said, like, we didn't allow that in Wonder Woman. Why are we allowing that here?
Because here it's played
Mhm.
for comedy.
But it's not funny.
No.
You were taken advantage of. I mean, you're just now realizing
Hmm.
that. That's not okay. And that should have been said in the writer's room. Somebody should have said something. but
Well, not just that, but
Yeah.
like to bring the character back that date raped you and just act like nothing happened.
yeah,
Like to keep this
yeah,
character on, like you could have been like, oh well, she did date rape him and then she had a baby and then she went to jail where you fucking belong.
right. Right.
Nope,
That
she's gonna be
and
your wife's
I
new best
mean,
friend.
we never got a point we never got a paternity test because I mean, there was also that she might not be, but maybe, I don't know. There was a
Well,
lot
that and
of
then there was
that.
No,
the fortune teller,
I'm gonna look at him real close. Oh, I see it.
and
Yeah,
the
yeah, that's your
fortune teller
kid.
gave him a drawing of Lavelle.
Also, I don't ever need to see that again.
What, the human version of Rafiki?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why did anyone think that that was a good idea?
Arsenio Hall apparently
Like,
thought it was a great idea.
Didn't
well,
like it.
Arsenio Hall couldn't hold an accent,
No
any
one
accent,
could.
for more
He
than
could
2
not.
seconds
No.
the whole damn movie. I
No
mean,
one in this
listen.
movie could. Actually, no, I take that back.
Well, except for Wesley
Yes,
Snipes.
he's the only
Wesley
one.
Snipes.
And Wesley Snipes was doing the Lord's work in this movie. Like,
He
apparently he got the
Oh.
memo. They were like, well, this movie is just dumb as fuck, so go nuts, Wesley. And he was like, all right.
Say less.
You know what it was? It's like Wesley Snipes was to Coming to America what Pascal, oh, why can't I think
Pedro
of his name
Pascal?
right now?
Pedro Pascal?
Pedro Pascal was to
Exactly.
Wonder Woman 1984.
He was in a
Mhm.
terrible movie
literally.
doing the best he could.
Yeah.
And it was great. Him dancing into the room every time.
Every time.
Every time.
We're a musical people.
Oh my goodness. He was
You know who's
fantastic.
the
But
worst offender of the bad accents in this movie? He's not even any of the main cast, and he literally has like 2 lines. And apparently,
who?
he is the owner of the house where most of this is filmed, Rick Ross.
You leave Rick Ross alone. You
Rick
leave
Ross
him alone,
came out
right?
of nowhere.
He ain't never acted
and he
before.
was like, "Oh, the king has gone to New York." I was like, "What? Rick Ross, why are you doing this line?"
When I hovered over my Amazon Prime and it said Ricky Ross the boss, I said, no.
I was like, you have Michael Blackson standing
No.
right next to you, who is legitimately, he has an African accent.
No.
What are you doing? You couldn't give him like one reading, like, hey, no, maybe, your vocal inflections. No, you sound like you've got a chicken wing stuck down your throat and you're trying to talk like you're from Wakanda.
How dare you,
Yeah.
sir? This is my home.
Also, Nextdorian.
Oh,
though?
Jesus Christ.
Nextdoria is the country. Like,
Yeah.
y'all couldn't come up with a better
Nothing.
name for the country next door than Nextdoria. For real? Like,
Yeah, I was like, Zamunda is
Also-
clever.
Go ahead.
Right.
Right.
Nextoria?
I don't appreciate the way they treated my girl Lisa. I
You mean
don't like
just
that
making
at all.
her generally the jealous wife?
An angry,
Yeah, the angry jealous wife.
Yeah, no, that wasn't the Lisa that you gave me in Coming to America. And so, unless you're going to tell me that this royalness just went all to her head, which I also don't believe, because why
Right.
would you have married her? Because that's
Right.
what you weren't looking for.
right.
You're gonna have to come harder than that. I don't
Well-
think she would be nasty to that woman. I don't think she would be nasty to that child. I don't think that she would just be a nasty
Mhm.
person.
Well, here's the thing. Nasty the child, definitely not. But can we also talk about why did Leslie Jones's Mary have to have no fucking sense?
Mhm.
No time. Like,
None.
I understand that you might have been from Queens, but I know folks from Queens. Shout
Yes.
out to my folks from Queens. They have fucking common sense. Like, they're not going in somebody else's closet, taking their dress and being like, yeah, add some fabric and make it my dress now. Like, what?
Right.
Them's fighting
It was
words.
just, yeah, like everything about how Leslie Jones came in was
Well, I know that's
like-
kind of her deal, as in, when she plays a lot of parts, she, they basically tell her to be the loud, obnoxious black woman, which I think is kind of racist to tell her to do, but
It
Mhm.
is.
oh,
because she's also a better
She
actress
is.
than that.
She
So,
is.
Like, why are y'all doing that to my girl? She
Right.
is incredibly talented. And it was like between her, Tracy Morgan, and I love
Tracy Morgan was just playing Tracy
I-
Morgan.
hated him in this movie. It was an unnecessary role. Like, it brought no value.
None.
Mhm.
It brought no value to the movie,
No.
and I'm like, these are incredible, like, comedians, and you're wasting their
Yeah, I think
talent,
that's
and
the
I
biggest
don't
defense in this movie is that you have
understand
so
why
many
we're doing
funny
this.
people being in
Yeah.
this unfunny thing. It's like a modern Adam Sandler movie when you're like, oh, we have Adam Sandler and Chris Rock and Kevin James. You have all these funny people, and this movie is so unfunny.
I don't know why we didn't just have like Lisa's father, Mr. McDowell, is
Mhm.
sick, and Lisa had to come back
Yep.
to New York to help the family. And Akeem is being introduced to Lisa's extended family. Leslie
That would have been
Jones,
great.
and
Well, not
Tracy
just that,
Morgan
Yeah,
like,
can
yeah.
all be a part of her
where's the
family.
rest of her family? They
Right,
spent
where's
Right.
her
all
Where's her
this
sister?
time and
sister?
money bringing back, like, there is not a person, for the exception of Lisa's sister, that is not back from the original. They brought back the fucking
Yeah.
Yep.
rapping twins. Why?
Yeah.
Louis Anderson lives in Africa, y'all.
Louis Anderson
What? Like,
lives and
I was
apparently
very
lives in the back
confused.
room of a fucking McDowell's in the middle of a grass field. You have this fully realized restaurant in the middle of a grass
Mhm.
field. Figure out your
No
stereotype. You're either gonna
streets.
be fucking Zamunda Wakanda or you're gonna be fucking third
Hmm.
world country infomercial Africa. Figure out which one you want to be. You
Yeah.
can't be both.
Yeah.
Well, we had to put pen to paper so that we could get that
Yeah.
Amazon money. I apologize. It had to be a little rough.
And the thing about it was the general story, right? Let's
Mhm.
carve away all of our gripes.
Oh, I got plenty.
He has a son he has a son he didn't know about.
Mhm.
He needs the son to ascend to being the crown prince so that he can keep Zamundum customs and not have to do whatever. But he's got these three beautiful daughters, one of which is incredibly talented,
Mhm.
brilliant, all of this, who should be the next queen.
Mhm.
And you're trying to make a way for her and also help your son learn his culture and all of this. Like, you had two competing stories that
Mhm.
weren't bad in themselves,
Exactly.
Yeah.
right? When you think about what they were trying to do, they weren't both necessary, though. You could have
Right.
picked one or the
The
other
other.
instead of trying to tell both, because I felt like both kids got kind of the short end of
Yeah.
the stick in this
Yeah.
storytelling.
This would
And
have
never mind the other two
this
little
would have
girls.
worked
Right.
as a miniseries, like a 6 episode miniseries
Mhm.
on Amazon. Because not to mention the Wesley Snipes thing, like he wants to invade because of
Mhm.
some trade routes or some bullshit. That shit gets wrapped up in 10 minutes, with one of the worst choreographed fight scenes I've ever seen. It makes no sense. And then you have, of course, he is the brother of the girl that Eddie Murphy was supposed to marry in the first one that barks. She comes back and
Mhm.
she's still hopping on one foot and
Still
barking.
barking, still barking.
And then he's trying to get his daughter, who is I forget the lady's name. She's like a famous, yeah.
Tiana Taylor.
She's supposed to
Did
marry.
you say she's not
No,
famous?
I said she's a
No, he says
famous. I
she
couldn't
was
remember if she
famous.
was a dancer or singer
Oh.
or something like that. But
She's all
she's
three.
supposed to be marrying Lavelle, and it's basically the exact same
Mhm.
thing. They even use the exact same jokes where, oh, what do you like to
Mhm.
watch? Oh, whatever you like to watch. Like,
Who you like to watch?
you guys
Yeah.
couldn't write this woman like 5 more lines, just anything to make her a real
Right.
But
person.
but the storyline of his daughter being a better king, and his father, James Earl
Mhm.
Jones, saying no, it needs to be a male. I don't see why we didn't just explore that with Akeem trying to work on his father, would say, no, she's wonderful. Like, she is what you want in
A
a
leader to
royal,
be.
right?
Right.
Her. I don't see why we couldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Also, I don't see how we got Akeem, and they tried to explain it, but it didn't make a lot of sense to all of a sudden be so concerned with tradition when you left a whole ass
To
wife that
sow
you
your
had
royal
planned.
oats.
And you
Mhm.
got a wife, and your parents changed the rules so that you could
Mhm.
marry this
Mhm.
woman.
Hmm.
It didn't, a lot of that, like it didn't make sense. And
Yeah.
so, like, I feel like you got a couple of good laughs in there here and there. I feel like there were a couple of noteworthy
I
performances.
legitimately
Obviously,
laughed at
Wesley
one
Snipes.
scene in this movie, and it wasn't even a scene; it was a line. Like when they're trying to take him through his princely trials, and he tells Arsenio Hall, "You dressed like a slave from the future." Legit, the only time in this movie I legitimately laughed.
Also, it's 2021, y'all, and one of the things that I remember loving so much from the original Coming to America was the costume design. I thought it was absolutely beautiful.
Mhm.
Um, I'm not sure what happened here because some of the costumes were
A
amazing,
lot of that's one of the few pros for this movie. Like the
right?
costume designs were
But they
fantastic.
set but they set
Yeah.
Lavelle up through 90% of the
Yeah, I
movie.
don't know what they were trying to do with
Yeah.
that thing where they like blend cultures. Like, oh, he's from New York,
Mhm.
but also he's from Zamunda. Like, no, he's not from Zamunda. He's been here a week.
Right.
Right. Right. Now how they dressed the girls, every
Loved.
outfit was like, "Oh my gosh, that's
Loved.
beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful." But, you know, Lavelle, why y'all doing this to my mans? And also, you're from PG County, dog. I know you felt real uncomfortable in some of them getups they had you in. Just saying.
He was also
Um,
great in
other
Sorry to
thing,
Bother You. If you haven't seen that,
mhm, he was very good, and you should definitely watch Sorry to Bother You because unlike this one, that movie is
yes, that movie's really
100% a
good.
great movie. Here is the other thing that I found interesting as far as like thinking about casting and people in this movie. And it's one that I will give Eddie Murphy and the writers kudos. Eddie Murphy's actual daughter was in this movie. And I don't know if a lot of people realize that, but the middle daughter, the one that wore the
Mhm.
glasses,
Mhm.
that is Bella Murphy. That's actually his daughter. And I kind of appreciated the fact that they didn't make her the main daughter, nor did she have a
I would
whole
say
lot
maybe
of
she couldn't
lines.
act
Like,
because she legit had like 5 lines.
She
right.
was the one about the grass
Yeah,
burger. She was the one for the carbon footprint.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, he has a
That was
shitload of
cute.
kids, so I never know which ones are his.
He does indeed. Some that he acknowledges and some that he does not.
Well, this one was with his wife, so he acknowledges
Which
Bella.
one? Does he have multiple
Um,
wives too?
yike, Nicole.
He has
That's the
a
first
child.
wife, right? Nicole was the
He's
first
got
wife.
babies with
I
one of the
believe
Spice
so.
Girls, right?
He does
He has
with Mel
a
B.
baby
He has
with
one
me with
baby.
Mel
Yes,
B.
with Mel
A
B.
baby. Mhm.
It's a lot.
Yeah, so I feel like that's there was a highlight. Also, I felt like James Earl Jones and John Amos look great for their
Yeah.
Mhm.
age because they're both old as fuck.
I
And
wanted more John Amos. Like he had one like actual scene and
yeah,
he was the best
yeah,
actor
I
in
did
that
too.
scene. Um,
Hmm.
especially when he's explaining why the McFlurby is not the same thing as a McFlurry. It's like they put the toppings on the bottom.
But see, but that's like those were like the recycled jokes that I was okay with, right? Like the
Mhm.
McFlurry one, I was fine with. But some of the other ones, they just didn't hit
No.
the same. Like the whole barbershop scene
Yeah.
did
Every time
not
they came on screen,
hit.
I was like, why are you guys still in this movie? And then the ending where like everyone comes to
What,
Zamunda
right? Why were they in
Yeah.
Africa? Why were the barbershop
and then
guys?
Sexual Chocolate is there and then the fucking rapping
Well, you know why sexual
twins.
chocolate's there.
I would have taken the Sexual Chocolate one because they even made it seem
I
they made it
enjoyed
seem like
sexual
they were a
chocolate.
big thing
I'm not
in
gonna lie.
Queens because all the people from Queens were like, "Oh my
Hmm.
God, Randy Watson." I'll take that joke, but then you bring out the rapping twins.
You
Okay, but
really can't stand
I
the rapping
can't because they came out of
twins.
nowhere, and I was like, "Why the fuck are you in this movie?"
well, here's where I got one of the biggest laughs when In Vogue came to sing,
Oh yeah,
and there were only
I was
three
like,
of
wait,
them.
there's 3 members of In Vogue. I thought there was 4. There's also 2 Salt and
There
Pepper one. Aren't
are,
there 3? There's a lot going on in this scene. It's very 90s, and then there was the
and I laughed
there
my
was the
ass off at
Prince
all of
Mhm.
scene.
that.
It was a very good inside
Yeah,
joke.
and then the
Hmm.
everyone singing
Hmm.
Prince was like, what is going on here? These jokes would have hit.
Also, Gladys looked
Yeah,
good too.
Gladys
it's
did
like
look
these scenes would have
lovely.
hit hard in the 90s, not now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The half of the
yeah,
audience watching this movie
yeah,
doesn't even know who the fuck In Vogue
You know
is,
who the these are, right?
nor that there were 3
yeah.
of
You're
them
like,
when there was actually 4.
right. It's like if somebody says the original is Destiny's Child and Michelle
Yeah.
is there. That was the equivalent of that. Like, ooh, she was not an original. Don't know what's going on there. So yeah, I think it's safe to say that overall, if we were to use the star rating, where do you guys put this attempt?
If I'm going by my normal 5 stars, which is 1 hated it, 2 didn't like it, 3 liked it, 4 really liked it, 5 loved it, I'm gonna go 2.5. I'm bordering on didn't like it. almost liked it. And what some of the pros I give it is A, the costume design, and B,
Mhm.
there's a scene in the beginning where they do some de-aging of Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall, and it actually looks fantastic for de-aging. Thankfully, it doesn't wear its
Mhm.
Mhm.
welcome, and they don't do the whole movie like that. It's literally like 2.5 minutes. Um, those are
Mhm.
my biggest. And the actor who plays Lavelle, he's actually really good in this.
Mhm.
Mhm. I will give it a 2. Um, I wanna give it a half, but,
Yeah, I'm being
you
very
know,
generous with that half star.
yeah. It's
All right.
the rape for me.
Ooh,
I'm
yeah,
going
you're
to
making me
be
want to take it back to the two just for
incredibly
that.
Sorry.
See,
Sorry.
I was about to give it a 3, but maybe I'll give it the 2.5 because of the rape. But the thing for me, almost exclusively, like if I'm giving it a 2.5, one would be for the movie overall, and I'm talking costumes, everything else.
Mhm.
The other 1.5 would be for Wesley Snipes, because we all know that Wesley Snipes is a garbage human being, and that's fine. But he
It's not great with
also
money.
has been through some shit. Well,
He is
well, I
not
mean,
great with money.
but there's a lot of white people in Hollywood that are not great with money that don't end up going to jail for tax evasion.
Well,
So
no,
we
You
can
are
leave
he's
not
that
also just a
wrong.
there.
terrible person. If you didn't know, like, look up some of his behavior on the set of
Yeah.
Blade
No,
Trinity.
no, no. Listen. We That's what I said. He's a garbage human being. But it was really nice to see him doing a role that he clearly enjoyed
Oh yeah,
doing. And almost any time I chuckled, it was when he was on the
yeah.
screen.
Just
Because he would just do or say something ridiculous. The hairstyles they had him in were over the top, and I loved every bit
I was
about
also
it.
wondering, like, what happened
Like,
with his son. Like, he brings in a son that's supposed to marry the daughter, and he seems like very sensitive. But then they never go back to the son again. Like, we see him one or two times, like, in passing, and he's just like
mhm.
he's got long dreads and he's like never wearing a shirt and he just seems very sensitive. It's like, I want to know more about this guy. Never hear anything.
Well, he's not
Nope.
important
Nope.
anymore because we've got the
Because
Yeah.
son now.
he's not getting married.
I
Right.
feel like
So
somebody started
yeah,
writing that
there's
character and
that.
they were like, nope, nope, we're switching it up. He's got a bastard.
Mhm. Yeah. So, all right, let's move on. So there was another. That was our for the culture movie, or at least for our culture, right? But there was another for the culture movie that came out this week, and it was a very big deal for our specifically for our Southeast Asian brothers and sisters, because it's the first time that Disney has done a movie specifically focused on Southeastern culture. And so this week, Disney Plus premiered uh, Raya and the Last Dragon. It is based in a mythical version of Earth, but definitely, an Earth thing. And so, let's talk about it. First and foremost, did you guys have any overall like impressions, or did you have any thoughts going, like expectations going into watching it?
No, just I knew it would be pretty because I've seen, I saw a lot of the trailers and I saw a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. So I knew it would look really good. And I'm never, not expecting a Disney movie to look really good. Also, I found out that
Yeah,
Raya is technically our second Asian princess in Disney now, after Mulan.
Is she a
right,
princess?
because
Is she a
Yeah,
technically
she's a
princess?
princess because her father
technically
is
she
the ruler of
is
the
the ruler
Hearts,
of
which is
Heart.
their kingdom.
Hmm.
So technically, she's a princess.
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
fun.
Yep, and we actually get two. If you want to
yeah.
be technical, we get two Asian princesses in this movie, because her arch nemesis, then turned friend, is also a princess of another land. Who was what was her name? Was it Namari?
Um, yes, Namari, played by Gemma Chan.
Um, which
Ooh.
made me very, very excited, because remember I told y'all I started my foray into Sherlock, and she's like in the second episode, and I love her in Crazy Rich Asians. And as soon as I realized it was her, I was very, very excited. And that's kind of one of I want to
Yeah, I was
talk
saying
about
not
that.
just
Like,
that, like they actually have like they passed the Bechdel test and like they are legitimate characters. And they put some backstory into both of them, and like by the way that the
mhm,
movie ends up, like you legitimately care about both of them.
both of them,
Oh,
right?
that's fun.
Yeah, there is no villain in the form of a person in
Mhm.
this movie, although you go through most of the movie thinking that Namari is the
Well,
villain.
yeah, the humans
So,
are the villain. I mean, we have I forgot what
yeah,
they're called,
our nature,
Dragoon or something like that. I forgot that the
the
drones. Yeah,
drones.
those are the villain. And
Mhm,
if I have to say, there's one weak point of this movie, it's the fact it's those characters because we get like no background of where they come from and what they really are. Even though like Aquafina's character mentions that they're kind of like they're like the epitome of like man's distrust or something like that. It makes no sense,
mhm,
but at the
mhm.
same time, like you're more caught up with everything else going on.
Yeah, and I feel like the movie overall is about like this overarching theme of
Yeah.
trust. And I know that there are some folks online that have kind of ragged the story a little bit, saying that it feels a little incomplete or it doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know what the fuck y'all watched because it made sense to me. Like it's still supposed to be a kids
Yeah.
movie, and it made I followed it with no problem. And I mean, I'm not a genius, so it wasn't like, oh my God, it's so confusing or I don't get what they're doing. Basically, people suck. They don't trust each other. The dragons are gone. It's kind of our fault. And now we're trying to get them back, but we can't work together long enough to help the dragons help us not
Yeah,
get turned into stone.
greed has
The end.
poisoned mankind, basically.
Hmm. Hmm.
Ooh, so it's Game of Thrones.
Kind of, but
Sort of.
surprisingly better
Yeah.
written,
Yikes.
and it definitely
And
ends
I
better.
think it does end better. There's
Blakakaka.
no question. Bratata, yeah. But before, because there are a couple of things about the movie itself that I want to talk about. But before we get into that, I want to take a step back and talk about what I think Disney did really well with how they did this movie. And it starts and ends with literally all of the primary cast are of Asian
Hmm.
descent, with a very good chunk of the cast being of Southeast Asian descent, which I thought was amazing. I had to literally do my homework and like search to see
Mhm.
if in any way, shape, or form they strayed from that. And they did
Well, there's
with like three.
one character who is apparently in every Disney movie, and he is. I will call him a friend of the show because if he ever wants to be on here, I'll let him. The amazing and incomparable Alan Tudyk, who plays the voice of Tuk Tuk, her giant
That does not
potato
count
bug.
because he doesn't actually say a single
Nope.
damn
But
word.
he grunts and
He's just
makes
like
weird noises. He also
he
played Hey
grunts.
Hey in Moana.
Hey,
Yep.
hey. I was getting
He
ready to
did.
say.
He did. But like if you go down the cast list, you have to go pretty damn deep before you find somebody who did any voice work that was not Alan Tudyk, that is not of Asian descent. And I loved it. I was very happy about that because it's
I
an
was like,
Asian movie. Have
this is
Asian
like
actors doing
Crazy
the
Rich
voices.
Asians levels of fucking like Asian
Yeah.
cast, and a lot of the cast from Crazy Rich
Yes.
Asians is actually in this.
Is actually in
Yeah,
this movie. Yeah. Almost. I mean, but Benedict Wong is also
Benedict
in this
Wong is
movie, and I was
great.
so excited.
He's.
I love
I
him.
was
Yeah.
literally just watching What We Do in the Shadows earlier today, and I've watched that episode where he's the necromancer. I was like, this man, he does no wrong.
He does not. So I want to give Disney a shout out for that first and foremost. The second thing I want to give Disney a shout out for is ordinarily for me, I don't expect quality animation from Disney if it's not Pixar. And this technically was not a Pixar project. And yet and still, Eric, I'm going to give the floor to you. The hair.
Yeah,
So much hair. And it looked amazing. Like,
particularly what is her character's name? Sisu, Aquafina's character. She
mhm,
has kind of
yeah, Cece the
rainbow
Dragon.
hair, but like the way that
Mm.
it moves and like when it gets wet, and because she's a water dragon, they make a big point of this. That's her power. She's a water dragon. Yeah,
Mhm.
it
And then when she turns human and she's got the rainbowy hair and it's just all
yeah.
so pretty.
It's
So
really funny
pretty.
too because she even mentions, I was watching one of the interviews with Aquafina, and she was like, yeah, they took certain facial features from her, so like the shape of her mouth and her teeth and things like
Mhm.
that. So I thought that was a really cool addition because the character looks like Aquafina.
Yeah, it looks like a dragon of Aquafina. Although it
That's
sounds kind
fun.
of weird because she doesn't look like a dragon in
No,
real life. She's an
well, when
attractive
she
woman,
becomes a
but
human,
the
she looks kind of
dragon,
like her.
she looks like, yeah, and that's when you really see it, like with
Yeah,
her mouth and like how her face moves. It's very Aquafina, but like it is just very pretty. And one of the things that I loved is like each of the territories is basically named after a part of the
Yeah,
dragon.
because
So Heart
the
is
map looks
very
like a dragon shape.
looks like a dragon like
Mm.
through like how the river moves or whatever. And it's like when you're in Heart, it's tropical and green, and you get these beautiful greens and blues, and it's just
Mhm.
it's very very pretty. And then like you go to Fang, which is to me felt like the equivalent of the Fire
Yeah.
Nation, but you know,
Well, I think it was what?
whatevs.
Fang, heart, talon, spine, and
And
tail. Yeah.
Tail. Hmm. Yeah, Tail was the desert, and it looked terrible, like the desert. Like all of the areas were just very very different. You
Mhm.
knew which land
Well,
you were
they
in.
explain it at the beginning of the movie when they do their their little
Hmm.
pre-roll, and they explain oh, this place is up in the mountains and it's very cold and they have snow, and this place is in the
Hmm.
desert.
Mhm.
So it's nice.
And it's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's so pretty. And that surprised me because again, I expect that from Pixar. I expect that from Soul. I expect that from Toy Story. Like I just don't have the same expectation for Disney
See,
animation.
I know Disney does a lot. They do their stuff in house. Pixar is on another level because Pixar is pushing the boundaries. Like they're making things that
Hmm.
shouldn't be animatable into animation. Kind of like how I nerded out over Soul and like certain characters and the way they moved. So Pixar will innovate that, and then we'll slowly get those trickle down into like the Disney and the DreamWorks and the other stuff. So I always expect them to look good because I was not I wasn't disappointed in Moana. Moana looks amazing as well, and that's a Disney movie, not a Pixar film.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but see, for me, Moana looks amazing just because you got lots of blues, and you can't go wrong usually with lots of blues. I love Moana for the story and the characters, never for the animation. It was just like
Oh.
for me, it was like run of the mill
Well,
Disney
Moana's another
animation.
one where
It was
they
fine, you
Little
know.
Moana playing in the water?
yeah, so they innovated a lot
She's just
with
fucking
water animation too.
adorable.
Come on.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, listen. Again, it's adorable, but when I'm thinking about it from a more technical perspective,
Also,
like with Raya,
with
it's like Brave. Like you can nerd
yeah,
out just off of how everybody's
with
hair
the
moves in this
hair and
damn movie.
specifically the lighting, there's some
Hmm.
phenomenal CG lighting in this movie. Like especially towards the end where they're fighting in Fang, it just looks
Hmm.
fantastic. It's super cinematic, and like they paid a lot of attention to things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the other thing too, I loved with this was the fact that the story was a little predictable, but then it wasn't, right? Like Raya is your protagonist, and we're on Raya's
Yeah,
side all
the
the way
main
through and
hero's journey
through.
thing is extremely predictable, but like everything along the way elevates the story.
Yeah,
Mm.
but you then had the little twist, and I don't want to give it away for our viewers who haven't seen it yet, but you do get a little bit of a twist where now Raya has to kind of admit, "Oh shit, I
Yeah.
fucked up." And you don't get a lot of that normally with protagonists in these types of stories, Disney stories. And it was refreshing, and all of the side characters were very different from one another, and yet incredibly relatable, and you end up caring about every last one of
Well,
them.
yeah,
So
on her journey through each kingdom, she basically picks up a person, and each person represents
mhm,
a different element from that kingdom. Even
mhm.
the con artist ninja baby and her monkey friends.
She's
She
the
is the best.
best. The
She
ninja
speaks no
baby is
English. She just makes goo goo gaga sounds, but she's the best person on the team.
she's a
Yeah.
G. All right.
Between
That little
her
ninja baby.
and Bound, the shrimp boat
Mhm.
captain, he is my favorite character with his dancing, and he's always cooking up things, and yeah.
Oh, he's adorable. He's adorable. Yeah. So, I mean, I think we rag so long on Coming to America. We can go
I know
on and
I'll
on
heap
and on
praise on
about how
Raya all day.
great. Yeah, I will go on and on with Raya until the day is long, but it is long and we don't want to go too long. So, I think this is probably a good place to kind of wrap it up. What are we thinking as far as ratings here?
I'm definitely I will give it a 4 out of 5. And it only gets four
That's
out
where
of
I'm at
five
too.
because the villains were kind of one dimensional, and we didn't really
Ambiguous.
yeah, we didn't
They
really
were
get there.
ambiguous. I
There are
needed
elements
more.
of the story that don't make sense and just seem very convenient. But again, with the production, the cast, like Kelly Marie Tran does an amazing job in this movie, and anybody
She
that
really
had an issue
does.
with her in Last Jedi can eat a dick or like a whole bag of them, because she's amazing in this, and I hope we see her in more stuff, because
Mm.
Hollywood let people just be a dick to her. So I hope we see
Mhm,
more of her.
mhm.
Aquafina, who normally, she teeters on annoying, she does an amazing job in this movie. She is my favorite Disney dragon. Fuck Eddie Murphy and Mulan.
Agreed. Yeah, yeah. He's no more Wushu. Like it's definitely Sisu. She is fantastic. Um, Eric, I think I'm with you. I I think that a
Yes,
solid
solid four.
four. I would I would give it a 4.5 for the culture, straight up, because in general, like, yes, Disney, there are a million stories around folklore of different areas of the world that you can give us. And for this one to be the first one of hopefully more that we get from Southeast Asia, it was fantastic and we loved it. And we want you to do more of these things. Give us something in India. Give us more things in Africa that, aren't animal based. Give us something in the Caribbean. Y'all, I'm sorry. I just feel some kind of way about the only thing out of Africa and it's fucking animals. But you know what I mean? Like, give us these other stories because it matters. Because, all Asian people can't relate to Mulan. Obviously, as kids, if that's the only Disney princess that you have that even remotely looks like you, you're going to gravitate to her.
Plus
But
the history of Chinese imperialism. Maybe you don't want to get into that. This is a magical made up place based on Southeast Asia. So you know if you have family
exactly,
in Vietnam,
exactly.
Laos, Thailand, all those amazing places,
Mm-hmm.
this is
Mm-hmm.
for you.
Exactly. Yeah, mainly it's a solid 4 on its own. It gets the point 0.5 for that piece of it. I would definitely recommend that you get it. I was a little concerned at first because Disney be charging, man. Disney ain't cheap, but it
Not
actually
Disney be
had a
charging.
it had a fantastic theatrical release though, considering that we're in the middle of a
Yeah.
fucking pandemic.
Folks be
So
going to the
listen, watch
movies.
it. Right. So watch it however you can. That's the point that I'm making. Normally, I'm like, yo, we got to make sure that we're giving the money for the culture
Well, it's
here.
it's on
Give the
Disney
money, don't.
Premier
Do what you
Plus,
do.
so you have to pay the extra $30,
Mhm.
or you can wait.
But that's only for
Yeah, I
like
believe it
a month or two,
in
right?
June it'll be available for everyone, included in your Disney Plus subscription.
Yeah. So
Okay.
if you have the means, I would say definitely go ahead and drop the money or go see it in the theater if you're somewhere where it's safe to do
Or
that
if you're vaccinated
instead of
already.
waiting. Yeah, or if you're
Mhm.
vaccinated already. But if you don't, I don't think that the world's going to end if you don't see it before June, but it's definitely worth watching and you guys should definitely check it out.
I plan on seeing it before June. I plan on seeing it before the weekend's out. So, yeah.
Sorry, I plan on seeing it as soon as we finish recording. Whatever.
I mean,
Also,
don't tell me how to
Maybe.
do my life,
the
but
short
I
that
might.
plays before it, Us Again, is really cute.
I saw the pictures for that and I got a little teary eyed because I was like, look at these brown
Yeah.
people.
Ooh, well, you're gonna get real teary-eyed when you watch the movie because when the families, Eric, I don't know about you, but for me, like once they save the day and everybody's like
Yeah, I like that
going
they gave
back,
everyone their own little moment, because that's another big part of the
yep,
story is
tears,
loss and
tears.
grief, and like so many people have, because these monsters can't go in water. That's why the boy who runs the shrimp boat, he doesn't get off of his boat because he's like, he lost his whole
Hmm.
family, and even
Loss and
And it's
grief.
been like 6 years for most of
well,
them.
it 6 years for
Ah.
Raya because she was at the base when it started,
Right,
but the
right.
infection has slowly come out. So like the baby, her mom has only been gone for a couple months, and she's resorted to conning people with monkeys. So
I mean, you got to have a
yeah.
gimmick.
Listen, she's a very, very hardworking
Also,
baby.
not to mention, we also
So
get
yeah,
some amazing voice work from people we weren't expecting in this movie, like Sandra Oh,
Sandra
yeah,
Oh. Yeah, I want to say
Sandra
My
because
Oh,
girl.
Daniel Day Kim, yeah,
with his fine ass.
everybody's in
Literally,
this.
as you said, every
Yeah.
Asian. So every Asian.
Yes, yes. Everybody is in there. Everybody's in there. All right, guys. Well, that is it. You know, You should definitely see one of the two movies we reviewed, but we will not judge you if you see the other. Do what you do. I don't.
It's the heavy sigh for me, Eric.
Coming to America just felt so long too. It felt like an
It
exercise
was
to
pretty
watch.
It was
long.
really loud. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was really
yeah.
long.
It was a little long, but we digress. I don't think we have a grab bag because, quite honestly, nobody knew what the hell we were talking about this week.
We do not.
Cool. All right. So with that, we want to thank you guys for listening and watching. Please take a couple of minutes to like the video if you are watching the video. If you are listening to the podcast and you haven't already, although you can actually review us more than once on Apple Podcasts, I know that. Make sure to like it. Drop a review.
Give us 5 stars.
Give us some
Or
stars.
however many
We like
stars you
GTA
think
5
we
stars.
deserve.
The fucking military's coming for you. That's what I want.
Gang.
Yeah.
I agree. Yep. Manira's like, no.
2 stars. That's for running someone over. Pfft.
Yep. Agreed. Also, if you don't agree with our commentary, make sure to leave some comments below. Let us know what you think about these two movies if you've already seen them. Or if you don't want to do that, you can definitely go ahead and send us an email. Our email address is concentratedpodcast@gmail.com. You can also connect with us on Instagram. Our handle is @concentratedpod. And then lastly, you can leave us a voicemail with the number is 301-531-4393. Again, that is 301-531-4393.
Oh, you were going so well.
4393. I know. There had to be y'all know I can't say words. There had to be a mess up somewhere. And just as a final reminder, this is Concentrated. Obviously, we're getting back to our roots and doing our thing and reviewing stuff. But let's say you're in the mood for something a little different, like people talking about other people punching each other in the face. Definitely check out our show, Throwing Bows, where we discuss MMA. If you are into the Marvel MCU the way that we are into the Marvel MCU, you can check out our Heralds of the MCU. I know that some folks kind of waited to get into WandaVision. So if that is
So they
you,
can binge
you
it
can
all
go
now.
back. Yeah, you can binge it all now, and you can definitely go back and hear us talk
You can
about
binge
every
all our episodes
episode
too.
in detail. And also know that next week we'll be continuing our our Herald's run by discussing the premiere of
The Falcon and the
Falcon
Winter
and
Say
Soldier.
it right. The Falcon and Winter
Falcon
Soldier.
and Winter Soldier. Y'all, it hurts my soul not to just call it Fuckboy and Winter Soldier, but
please
either way,
don't.
no, we're going to watch the Falcon and Winter Soldier. And then lastly, if you love all things British the way that we love all things British, you can check out Cup and Saucer, where Manira, Courtney, and Eric break down British shit. Well, actually, now it's kind of European. They're expanding.
It's European
y'all.
for
We're
this.
dipping
for
a toe into
these,
the rest of
like,
the rest of
weeks,
Europe.
yeah.
We're going to the mainland. The Continentals.
Yeah, and then they're going to take their asses right back
Yeah.
to the UK.
Got to.
We're like,
So
the
you
food
can
is
check
terrible
that
here. We're
out
going
as
back
well.
to the UK.
Right. We gotta go.
So we try to have something for everybody. Make sure that you check it out. And with that, guys, we will talk to you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.